Miss Harlos and I spoke privately about her serving as chair pro tem for the evening, so I could just do the notes. And so I move for Karen Ann Harlos to serve as chair pro tem for Liberation.
Second.
Okay, give me, is there any objection? All right, hearing none. Thank you, Ms. Harless.
Heard better. Do you have the copy of the agenda?
Point of order, please.
I don't have it printed. I can get you the link.
Well, it's on LPD, I think, isn't it?
David has a point of order.
What? The agenda? Yes. Would people in the room please turn off your mics on your computer so we don't get the echo in the alley?
Okay, I've got a copy on the computer.
I appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Secretary, if you
I think
could,
Karen Ann might, or I think Hannah may have.
if she's here.
I know. I think she may have added some stuff at the last week. So let me see if I can get you something. Sorry, I should have it. I always just It's the same link that you always do. Have some here.
By regular Gmail?
Yeah. Public. Okay.
Well, in the meantime, you could call attendance while I'm waiting for that to come through.
I have the same idea. So, Ms. Goodman, do we have you like listening in at all? Nope. I guess we should have officially confirmed that she was not here before we elected the chair pro tem, but she told us she was. She posted it into the Discord. Vice Chair?
Present.
I'm here. Affiliates?
Present.
Campaigns?
Here.
Communications?
Here.
Fundraising?
Here.
Membership?
Here.
Legislative?
Here.
And outreach. She also said that she wasn't in it. All right. So, Miss Goodman and Miss Steinke are absent.
That brings us to, that would be a quorum, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So this brings us to opportunity for public comment, 2 minutes per speaker. I know Mr. Atwood generally wants to speak, so you have the floor, Mr. Atwood.
Good evening. I'm your liaison to Center Right Coalition that meets here on second Mondays and sets it up for us this evening. A bit of literature, Western Conservative Summit, gun show, and equity, diversity, inclusivity, and constitutional litigation, literature and gun rights issues. John Caldera quotes Kubler-Ross, the grieving process, that he's finally accepting that Republican social conservatives are perhaps a dying breed in the state of Colorado. No surprise. And that's about it. Any questions, thoughts? Anyone want to see literature that was handed out? Sure.
They gotta join the Libertarian Party.
Exactly. Thank you, ma'am.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for public comment?
Just a quick comment. Lake Huber, just an observer. I will scan those documents and make them available to anyone who wants them and wants to review them later.
And actually, because I didn't anticipate this, or something quickly I'd like to say, taking off the Chair Pro Tem hat. Most of you know that I'm on the policy committee for You Two Need to Close Your Ears for RCB Colorado. And there's been huge pushes all over the country for top 2, which I know you guys probably equally hate. It's probably coming to Colorado. RCB Colorado is going to be asking all of its minor party stakeholders as to, trying to all arrive upon a game plan that everyone can agree upon. So as that stuff starts to come up, I'll bring it to you guys, because they certainly will want LPCO on board. But just FYI, they just barely defeated this in Montana through dirty tricks that would surprise you even knowing how dirty the duopoly is. And apparently it's getting introduced into Texas right now, so not good. But I'll keep you all apprised of that as I learn more. Yes, Ms. Huber?
Another quick comment. We don't hate RCV. If there's anything we can do to help defeat top 2, please let us know.
Yeah, top 2 should be universally loathed and shamed and made crying for its mother.
It's designed to minimize alternative parties entirely.
Okay, is there anyone else further for public comment?
Could I ask for a quick break? I'm realizing our stream settings are a little too high, and it's causing the stream quality to be really poor.
How long do you need?
5 minutes.
So is there any objection to standing at ease for 5 minutes while he updates the stream quality? All right, we'll stand at ease for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Okay, so I should realize this, that it's a little bit hard to edit from like 3
We are still
settings.
getting some
I have to
audio
pause the screen.
feedback.
From,
For people not muting,
Yeah, I think so.
mute.
Yeah.
I don't get on the stream. I have no idea. Sometimes I do, but right now I try to fill out some of your stuff ahead of time. Yeah, I've had it like such a luck that I haven't been able to just do it in real time, but I had to switch up all the names attached to the. Is Merle on the stream?
No, he said he was gonna be about 10-15 minutes late. So we should be here soon.
So this is another pain point. Like, it's helpful to use the phone as like a separate device to listen over the stream. That also keeps you from
Officially recorded.
the owl camera to like focus on where you choose is on a mobile app. So
Hey, John, I think you're the one who's not muted.
oh shit.
Is he making any campaign flyers or?
Can we still hear the boardroom on the call?
I don't know.
are they, those down there? The new business, or?
Yeah, the ones that weren't originally there were website. No, she told me she was gonna have them, and then she didn't. Never
So
mind.
there's nothing added,
I was
okay.
like, yeah, never mind, we're good.
So are we good to go?
I believe so. Let me try and reconnect to the stream and make sure that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, hopefully that's more stable. It sounded good.
Okay, so we are back. We're on approval of the agenda. And at first we had thought there was a couple things that Ms. Goodman added, but it doesn't appear so. Is there anything anyone wishes to add? Without objection, Mr. Aiken?
Yeah, I would like to add 10 minutes at the end to demo a couple of things.
A couple of things.
One is a potential ad to run, and the other is about the special districts and how I can help you find people in those districts.
Okay, is there any objection to that addition requested by Mr. Aiken? Right, seeing no objection, are there any further amendments to the agenda?
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Yes?
I would also like to add just see if we can get an update on the mailers for new members that registered with the Libertarian Party from David.
Yes,
I know you don't need that on the agenda, you can just ask him during his staff report.
Oh,
Can I just double check, because I don't have the agenda pulled up right at this exact moment. Do we have a moment to go over storage proposals?
Storage, you said?
Yeah,
That is not on the agenda. How long do you need?
10 minutes maybe, tops?
Okay, is there any objection to adding a 10-minute tops discussion for storage proposal at the end of new business? David, would you like yours at the very end and have hers before yours?
sure.
Okay, is that okay if we flip that? Okay. All right, are there any
Thank you.
further amendments to the agenda? Okay, seeing none, is there any objection to adopting the agenda as amended? Okay, Mr. Vukovich, did you previously distribute the minutes?
Yep.
All right, Mr. Vukovich had previously distributed the last minutes. Are there any objections to those minutes? Hearing none, those are approved. Now reports from, you can take out DG representatives, we don't have development groups anymore. So it's just affiliate representatives.
Some of these things,
Yes.
I don't know what the abbreviation
Yeah,
is, and so
that's-
I've left them on there in case someone wants to speak to it.
Arapahoe, is there anyone from Arapahoe? Go ahead, Mr. Akin.
Bennett Rutledge greeted individuals that came to Goodson Recreation Center for South Suburban Parks and Recreation and suggested to them to vote for the most fiscally responsible individual. And I was consistent with him, just for activities from individual libertarians in Arapahoe County.
Good, thank you. I see Boulder is on here. I have a point of information for the secretary. Is Boulder still an affiliate?
I don't think so.
Would they officially terminated?
No, that's a good question. Not officially terminated. So I guess somebody could show up and speak on their behalf.
Okay, Denver?
I'll take it over since Kyle wasn't here. Justin Savoy, I'm Secretary of LP Denver. Our annual board meeting is going to be this Wednesday, 7 p.m. here at the Independence Institute. And we'll be filling some board seats. And that's pretty much it for us.
That's great that you're having meetings here.
Free.
Very professional.
Yeah.
All right, Douglas.
Wayne Harless from Douglas County. This Saturday, we have a road cleanup. We're meeting at the Neater's Bakery on Parker Road and Main Street. That's on the southwest corner. That's where we meet, and we typically take about an hour and a half to 2 hours picking up trash. And we'd love to have any of you that would like to join us. That would include part of your obligation that are required by the bylaws to show up for a county event or a county meeting. And we'd love to have you join us. Saturday, I believe we started
9, I think.
9 to 11, and then typically we all go out for lunch after that. So if any of you would like to join us, we'd love to have you. And once again, that's at Neater's Bakery in downtown Park.
Is that this Saturday or
This Saturday.
this Saturday? Thank you.
Great, thank you. El Paso?
I'm John Jersman. I'm the legacy affiliate rep for El Paso County. I have nothing to report except that I'm here.
What's your legacy?
We don't have affiliate representatives any longer, it's whoever. Jefferson County.
I can speak for Jefferson. So last month we also had a pretty good road cleanup. This month we'll be back the last Thursday of the month, which is the 25th, at the Holiday Lanes Bowling Alley. We're gonna do a canvassing training this meeting, so anybody from other affiliates that want to come are more than welcome. Since we have a few candidates who are running, we need to train members who are interested in door knocking for them.
Thank you. Is there anyone here from Mesa?
Sorry.
May I do that? I
Yeah.
believe we're also doing another road cleanup on the 20th.
20th.
Right.
Those are a lot of fun, I think. People get a kick out of honking. Do you guys hold a sign up when you do yours? In Douglas, we have a sign that says cleaning up the mess that others leave, and it says Libertarian Party of Douglas.
we acknowledge we
I
need to
want
be
libertarian volunteer cleanups.
Yeah, we acknowledge we need to be more public about how we
The
do
people
that.
love that sign.
Publicity, yeah.
So, we probably have the design for it. If you want it, you could just change it to your county name. Okay, is there anyone here from Mesa? Pueblo? Larimer?
I can speak for Larimer. We had a pretty good little meetup last weekend, 2 weekends ago, in Keensburg. Just kind of hanging out with Aaron Lamb, so that was nice. We still don't have anything scheduled regularly, but it's something we're working on.
Okay, thank you. Apparently I need to put on another hat again. I didn't bring enough hats. For LNC report. Okay, this will be interesting. People can ask me questions if you'd like. News has come out over the weekend a little bit more prematurely than not prematurely, but faster than we thought. Y'all may have heard about the controversy that's going on in Michigan. The LNC has filed a trademark lawsuit against the Rogue Group in Michigan. We don't know if any of the defendants have been served yet at this date, but that will be progressing. And there was a very large, well, I want to say very large, there was a significant presentation on shortcomings that the LNC believes exist in Civi CRM. That is public. It's on the streamed meeting, but if anyone wants a link to that so you don't have to go hunting for it, I'll get that to you. Obviously, the board is soliciting suggestions and more feedback on that, but it is definitely something we are examining. I could tell you, as secretary, I asked very pointedly, is it salvageable? And the answer I got, I think, pretty much was yes, it was salvageable. Whether they're going to choose to salvage it's another matter, but it is salvageable. As secretary, I know I know the board generally doesn't agree with me. We've always had a disagreement on this. I want to salvage it. I know most people on the board probably don't. And that's okay. We can disagree agreeably on things. And we elected a new regional alternate. Region 1 did, not the LNC, and that is Ms. Rebecca Jones from Nebraska. So if there's any questions, I'd be more than glad to entertain them. Yes, Ms. Rankin.
What is the status of Robert Krause's contract?
I'm not allowed to discuss staff issues. Those are kept confidential. Unfortunately, there was an email that went public on the list that was highly inappropriate. And that's why it was yanked off the list. People have had a question. It's both for ethical reasons. We don't discuss staff contractual negotiations in public, But second, for legal reasons. While employees have great freedom to say whatever they want about their employer and the status of the law, employers are much more restricted in what they can say publicly or they risk getting sued. So that is why that email was yanked off the list. There's nothing anyone's trying to hide. But really can't discuss any further. Angela would be the one to make the determination as to what can be discussed. So if anyone is concerned, I'd really highly suggest you write chair@lp.org because she's the one who can decide what can be discussed or not. Anyone else? Okay. Oh, yes, Mr. Jurgman.
El Paso County seems to have like 4 different Facebook pages that claim to be related to the Libertarian Party. 3 of them I know are, but there's one of them I'm not sure who's doing it, and I don't think they're actually affiliated with the active affiliate. Is there anything we should do about it, or just?
What's it called?
I don't remember, but we've got, there's a board business, I think, page, and there's a Libertarian Party, El Paso County page. There's the Libertarian Party of El Paso Party group. It's us. But then there's I don't know, whatever the other one is.
Is it active?
The page?
Yeah.
Here's, I think so.
See, part of the,
Sure.
I would get in touch with Miguel, the regional rep, because part of the issue is when it comes to restricting who can and cannot use a name, is if there's a likelihood of confusion. Like if someone said they were we had a similar name page even though they changed it, Colorado Libertarian Party activists, there's no likelihood of confusion. They're not holding themselves out to be the party. They're holding themselves out to be activists in the party. So a lot depends upon how they're holding themselves out. So Mr. Duque would probably be the best to act with that. If there is some group that is illegitimately using the name, Angela can probably help with that. Is our regional rep on me, Mr. Duque, or I don't even know if Ms. Jones knows that she could come. No? And by the way, Ms. Yanuskavich, who was our Region 1 alternate, she is now an at-large and is on track to being elected to the executive committee, so she's moving on up in the world. All right, reports of the board. Ms. Goodman submitted a report, I assume. So I'm sure she would be referring to that. Mr. Gonzalez?
Nothing to add on the report.
Thank you. Mr. Hendrickson?
Nothing to add on the report.
And if anyone has questions on these, just interrupt because I'm going to assume not and just move forward. Mr. Bukovic, and I know you have something there on upcoming deadlines if you want to answer if there's any of those as well.
I would like to answer on the deadlines. I should have had that do it up. I'll just put it here. They are attached. I think that we have one coming up that we have to do in not before the next board meeting, but I think before the next one, so I want to make sure to call it out. It really is like looking in the Navigator Google Drive. Sorry, I've just gotten in the habit of reading these out loud. So. Ooh.
Just mute, sorry. Nope.
So this one, ooh, this is a mess up on my part, guys. I apologize. So, We should probably add this to the agenda today. We gotta appoint the style committee by June 1st.
What?
Ms. Harlos, I move to, at the end of the agenda, add style committee appointments.
Okay, is there any objection to adding style committee appointments? Can we do it, because I know David want his at the very end, so right before David's. Okay, hearing none, that will be added. Anything further, Mr. Vukovich?
In July 1st, we have the convention committee will be appointed by the board for next convention. So we can do that next meeting. But those are the two.
All right, thank you. Mr. Bergeson?
Nothing to add.
Mr. Luria?
I do have one quick thing to add. I forgot to wrote down. The Douglas County affiliate has been fantastic. On their website, they have added a section of their website which has information that's continuing to be built of special elections and local elections, county elections with deadlines. Arapahoe has followed suit. Have a board in a vote for Jefferson board next affiliate. I think this is definitely something that active affiliates should do. Mr. Aiken has been great and been able to pull information from the Secretary of State that allows us to link up potential people to run for those offices. So I just wanted to note on that. I think that's working in a really great direction. So thank you, Ms. Harlos, for being the one to initiate that template that I think will be great for other affiliates to follow.
I've been very busy with Michigan, so I haven't been able to do
That's okay.
much on it, but I'm getting back on it. Mr. Marinovich?
Nothing to add.
Ms. King?
Nothing further to add.
Mr. Vance?
Nothing to add.
Mr. Lockamy?
Nothing further to add.
And I believe Ms. Nucky's not present, is she?
Nope.
Okay. All right, staff reports. Mr. Aiken?
Nothing to add, but I'm going to state that I put a paragraph about the postcards I've been sending out in my board report, which is available online. Somebody asked about that.
Okay, is that it, Mr. Aiken?
Sorry, everyone, I was muted. I had a question for Mr. Aiken.
Go ahead.
So, David, I wanted to know, is there a way we could track, I don't know, just the response rate? Like, is there any way we could put like a QR code on those postcards so when they scan it, we at least know that somebody scanned it and they received it or anything like that? Or do you have something that can measure how many people receive or respond to the postcards?
I think that would require a special landing page for that. We could probably do that, but that requires more work. Right now, the response has been pretty poor as far as I can tell. So I don't know if the effort is worth it.
Okay, are there any further questions for Mr. Aiken? Mr. Savoy? Technology, it says Savoy.
Oh, that hasn't happened yet.
Right. So
Okay.
I need officially to step down as technology chair and plan to hand that off to Justin, who's expressed interest in the position if the board is happy to nominate him.
So is that just gonna happen in the future?
I'm stepping down today.
I think this is the passing of the torch.
Okay, this
Hey,
is, and the
Border.
And the board's already approved.
I apologize, that probably should have been an
I guess we would have to, I think most of the board was aware, but I think we would have to formally do it.
All right, so if someone wants to make that motion,
I move to appoint Justin Savoy, or to accept, can we accept and appoint the same, accept a resignation and appoint the same motion?
yes.
Sweet. I move to accept Mr. Engel's resignation as technology director and appoint Mr. Savoy to the position.
Second.
All right, is there any objection to that motion? All right, hearing none, the torch has been passed. You won't be expected to give a report this time. So the merchandising committee, Mr. Luria?
At this point, the store is still on hold as we're figuring out, as the all the financials get updated on Tracer and we figure out. I think the bank accounts are being moved currently, and from one bank to another. So once that's all set, that will continue.
And I see audit committee vacant. I know this is gonna sound really weird because I was on the bylaws committee, but I look at a million bylaws lately. When is that getting appointed?
Applications, Eli, correct me if I'm wrong, have applications gone out for that one yet?
Not yet. They'll be posted, I believe, today. Well, I'm gonna make the job form and submit it, and it should be posted by the end of the week. I think if David has time to post it after I send him it.
So we'll be doing that next meeting.
Perfect. All right, doesn't look like there's any special orders or general orders, so we're on to new business. Well, and it seems like I got a little overeager because it says audit committee and assistant treasurer, Mr. Vukovich.
Yes. So, we just discussed the audit committee, but we did send out a application for the assistant treasurer. Is that I'm right on that one, right, Eli?
Correct.
Cool. And I believe we have I'm looking here in the job form, we have a submission there. So we have just one, Kurt Wildforster, who is a registered Libertarian in Colorado, not a dues paying member of the National Party, works in human resources currently, where he tracks expenses and audits different financial. Do we have, I guess that's it.
Yeah, I didn't know with one application if you wanted to, is there a motion to appoint this applicant?
Do we have him on the call first, just to see if he wants to speak to it?
Has anyone invited him?
That's a good question. Mr. Treasurer?
No, nobody talked to me ahead of time about it.
Okay.
I would have.
Okay.
If there had been some communication, I apologize.
Oh, good.
I don't believe there's a deadline in the bylaws for that, though you certainly want it as soon as possible. If you would entertain a suggestion, I think you probably should send out the application one more time, just so you have several candidates, and have Merle interview them.
You've talked to Kurt, right?
Yes, we were on a group Mises caucus call when we both offered to take the positions. Hannah asked that she wanted both the treasurer and an assistant treasurer. So yes, but I haven't talked to him since.
Okay.
I mean, it's certainly
Yeah, so we should do it real. Yeah, we should.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Yeah, that's fine. If you want to over the next month, send it out again, and if anyone else applies, I will interview all of them, or just if nobody else applies, interview Kurt, and then we'll make sure to invite him to come here or to get on the Zoom meeting, and then that way he can speak to the board, and then we can officially appoint him or someone else if we have other applicants at the next meeting. I guess it would be June 12th. My math's right.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
And you probably should invite, as audit committee applications come in, invite them as well.
I agree, that's a good idea.
I'm gonna update the job form to send in the like auto reply
Yeah.
confirmation you get, like include the meeting schedule.
And just remember, in case, because I know this is new for the board, when it comes time to elect the audit committee, the officers cannot vote in that election. So it'll be the non-officer members of the board. On the assistant treasurer, you can, not in the audit committee, because the audit committee's the watchdogs.
And then as far as, also I just gonna mention, as far as treasurer and as far as the bank accounts, we are gonna be getting Hannah onto the bank account. I'm gonna follow up with a local branch manager to get her an appointment to go to the Greeley branch either Wednesday or Thursday, that's the closest branch to where she lives, so she can get on the account. So that's being taken care of as well.
Is there anything further on that agenda item, Mr. Goodrich?
No, it sounds like we gotta do both elections next month, so.
Is there anyone, the next item that was Ms. Stanky's, does that need to get postponed to next meeting, or is there anyone else who is prepared to discuss that topic? There's no motion, it just says initial discussion.
That is a great question. I added a thing to the agenda request for a specific motion field, and that was not in there, so I think without her saying anything, if nobody objects, probably won't.
So just stick that on this next month, I would say. All right, 2024 plan, Mr. Luria.
Oh right, because we're skipping the Stankies. So this was something I wanted to bring to sort of the whole board and put this out publicly, just sort of as a general plan for 2024. This is something I've actually already talked to David, and David has been nice enough to poke some obvious holes in the plan, but that's, I think, a good thing. So I have been researching over the past 2 weeks the different states, LP states that have similar ballot access to us here in Colorado, meaning able to run statewide candidates with pretty much no issue, not having to do major petitions or money. A majority of those states are out near where we are currently. I'm not sure where Montana is necessarily standing because I know they're having ballot issues. But I'm going to be presenting, and it's good Ms. Harlos is here too because she's on the LNC. She can absolutely also poke holes in this. But I'm working on presenting a plan to the LNC. I feel like how do I want to put this? We always kind of scramble, it seems like, when we have a presidential election. Understandably, 5% of the vote is very important to be able to get federal funding toward our elections. But we put a lot of effort into states where I feel like the LP is way behind in being able to accomplish anything. Colorado has had major ballot access since the late 90s, whenever the minor law bill was put into effect. So Nebraska's at the head of my plan, but I'm going to pitch that Nebraska, Colorado, Kansas, possibly Wyoming, depending on if anyone can get a hold of them, which I have not been able to, that the LNC dumps and raises massive amounts of money for these 3 states, as well as having whoever the presidential nominee is come to Nebraska first to campaign for that extra electoral college vote. It has been brought up by 2 of the presidential potential so far, Maine and Nebraska. I think Nebraska has a much better chance, and I think the LP should push in these states. So, I don't have an exact figure, although obviously a few $1 million spread across those states I think would help. One thing though Colorado has to do, and I think we should do this anyways, but especially if we're going to bring a plan like this to the LNC, I think we need to have a better platform at which we're running statewide candidates next year. That means presenting Colorado with an actual legislative agenda. I've already put together a team, and I'm more than open to anyone adding to this, but things on like fighting property taxes, gun rights, whatever. What we want is our 3 or 4 major platforms, and then, you know, candidates can run on some specific issues for their district as well. But when I ran for state house last year, understandably, the biggest question I got was, what can one Libertarian ultimately do? And I think we need to present the Libertarians as a strong front here in Colorado. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have a bunch of wins across the board, but I think it can show that we're very serious. Part of that will be, we will not be able to accept really any line holder candidates that are not willing to at least have a website and fill out the surveys and things that they are sent. I'm happy to next year put up a vote for the board to be able to spend money on candidates to at least get websites up and running. I will definitely work on putting together a team that can help fill out these websites. And that doesn't necessarily mean I think we need people in every race, but it would mean that Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas need a list of real potential targets to dump money in. Talking to Kansas, they had a great opportunity last year, and they only managed to raise about $6,000 for that candidate, which is not a lot. This is definitely a sort of, for lack of a better phrase, a Hail Mary plan for the LP, but it would seem like maybe strategically picking our battles, and I know that the Frontier Project was one thing that was looked at, but it might present a strategic goal for the LP nationally that's not just getting our presidential candidate everywhere, but winning that the Oklahoma vote there would be a ton of people, winning a couple state legislative seats in all of these states where there is not a huge state legislature. Nebraska only has 1 house. These are states where a couple Libertarians winning could be a major, could put major pressure politically on those states. We already saw here in Colorado, we have an extremely progressive legislature and they still couldn't pass everything they wanted to. A couple Libertarians here, and we'll be researching what states are best to do this. What David pointed out, understandably, is one of the biggest ways that would really stop this plan is none of these states have a real base. So in order, I think, to do this, we need to at least have 80 to 100,000 registered Libertarians by November of 2024. So each Libertarian potential has put together one single, I think, good thing, and we could take from all of these. Mike Tremont is the radical platform, Lars is the gathering and registering more Libertarians, and Chase is the finding places where we can offset the hardline radicalness with the little bit of empathy we need to work our way in with voters in this state. So I need charismatic, well-spoken candidates for next year. I need like a firebrand Ron Paul style governor candidate, someone who is willing to take the time to travel and canvass with our candidates. I can't promise that this is going to potentially, you know, get us all the victories that we want, but it could really, you know, put us on a map. And one thing that would gain a lot of media support is the media looking at 3 or 4 states in the Midwest who got a bunch of Libertarians elected plus at least 1 electoral vote. And I think with enough votes in those states and that electoral vote, you push that presidential nominee over the 5% they need for us to start getting $50 million at least the next presidential year. So.
Are you ready for me to poke holes?
Please, go ahead. That's why I brought this up here.
And remember, some things I'm going to say are opinion, which are just mine.
Sure.
And might not be everybody's. The 5% is a huge controversy in the LP. I would say more than half of the people in the LP do not believe that we should take the federal welfare money. By the way I worded it, you can tell my position on the matter.
Absolutely.
Harry Brown got the 5% or whatever the threshold was at the time, both times, and he denied the money and got more publicity from denying it than he could have paid for by taking it. It doesn't come without strings.
Sure. Now, my one quick comment to that is that part was thrown into my plan at the last minute of talking to people who obviously are in favor of that. I'm trying to have a plan that will appeal to, you know, a large group of things. However, that was a piece that was added at the end. That's the thing I probably care the least about, because I feel like winning state house races or something like that would give us better notoriety. So
Okay,
that's a fair holder.
Yeah, the second
Absolutely.
thing is, do you know what the LNC's yearly budget is?
I don't. Awesome.
It's about 1.3 million, so once you start talking about a couple million, I'm like, that's interesting. But we don't have that.
That is fair.
But let me
please, go ahead.
continue. Ballot access, first of all, we have to have our candidate on the ballot in order to have any chance of achieving a nationwide percent. Ballot access over the next 2 years is about $1.7 million. We don't have that because New York alone is about $600,000 because of the way they screwed us. So these are just some of the realities of the situation. There needs to be a lot more fundraising nationally. But another thing where some people I don't think understand the role of the national party. Now, we certainly do concentrate on some lower races, like we got Marshall Burt elected and things like that. But the LNC has restrictions on what it can dump into a presidential campaign. The national committees don't fund national campaigns. It is associated organizations. So if you notice, like with the DNC, they have Act Blue.
Right.
It's not the DNC, it's an associated organization. I forgot what the similar one is with WinRed with the Republicans. We do have a structure called the LNCC, which is the Libertarian National Congressional Committee or something like that. But the LNC itself can't dump millions of dollars in.
What about state parties?
State parties can, that's why your FEC files.
No, I mean, can the LNC give a big check directly to a state party?
Up to a certain amount.
Okay, because I will admit.
And not a check of the amount you're talking about.
That's fair. Part of this is definitely, and I understand the LNC has to represent all states. To me, being in Colorado, and this is my own personal opinion, dropping $600,000 in New York is a giant waste of the party's money, and we could, like the Republicans and Democrats don't dump money in all 50 states. They pick some states, and it would seem like maybe states that have potential to get lower races to then build up better would be a better use of the money. Not saying that to you personally, I just,
and we probably aren't, realistically, we're probably not going to get ballot access in New York. I don't know if we're going to. Trying to find here.
Because I don't want to, I'm not trying to hate on Larry Sharp because he is, I love that man, but $300,000 was wasted for him to not get on the governor's ballot. I don't think in a state like Colorado we need to match dollar for dollar in these elections. But if we had $300,000, we could have given, we could find a few state house races or county races or whatever that we really have a chance and dump 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 that allows us to at least get mailers out all the time and do the kind of ads and pay for door knockers.
Okay, just bylaws wise though, the role of the national party is to hold a convention and get presidential candidates nominated and to just run the basic infrastructure. It's not a top-down fundraising mechanism. Now, maybe in the future that's what it should be, but that's not what it is now. The state parties are supposed to be the ones raising these big dollars and doing these things. Now, I'm not going to discourage you from suggesting this to Mr. Duque, because I'm going to tell you a funny story. When I was Region 1 representative, not everyone, but a few people used to say that I was the pork barreler on the LNC and I always brought home the money to Region 1. So I'm not, because I'd always say, we have ballot access. You're spending money in all these other states, where's the love for Region 1? Because I was Region 1. But it's not going to be to the tune you're talking about.
That is fair, and part of this, bringing this up, was figuring out where those kind of ramifications even are. I would just like more, like the emails that National sends out encouraging fundraising for different things. I would love to see that for some of our states that have the ability to really make an impact. No offense to New York, I love New York, but that's also a commie crap hole. That's, and even, no offense to Angela, but her own home state of California, they're never going to make a ground there. And even 3 libertarians winning in a state legislature in New York with 400 people doesn't do anything.
I know that the LNC is very focused on fundraising right now. like this kind of proposal is actually, I think, like in a lot of ways like what they're looking for, because it's kind of like a product to sell to like open up new revenue streams like that we don't have yet.
That was
But like
my
if
thought.
you're gonna make that kind of proposal, you just have to have like it can't just come out of existing coffers. You have to have like the attached fundraising plan that National could embark in to support it.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
And Mr. Duquesne's the person to at least initially approach.
Okay.
And I'm sure he'll be very
And I need people
amenable to it.
much smarter than me. This is
Right.
purely a lonely peasant suggesting.
Yeah, no,
to the
I
boards,
don't
but-
want to discourage you. I just want to let you know the obstacles to be faced that.
You could have said this is an incredibly stupid idea and you shouldn't waste your time. So I'll take.
No, I don't think any ideas
are.
are incredibly stupid. Sometimes the most long shot ideas are the ones that end up being the most successful.
Sure.
Because I'm sure if somebody told Michael Heiss something about 8 years ago that this is an incredibly stupid idea, a lot of us wouldn't be sitting here right now. So I don't, I'm just letting you know the realities now that you do have a lot of obstacles, but that doesn't mean it's insurmountable.
Cool.
I do think national and state parties can give as much as they want to do.
That I'm not absolutely sure of.
I'm not either.
I was
That's what it
trying
looks
to
like
look
in
that up
last
at the
2
same
minutes I
time you
put on the
were.
FPC
Look at
website.
contribution limits
And then
here.
point to the rest of Colorado. I need all your help in this. We need to kick ass. Next year, whether we get any major support from national or not, I think presenting an actual agenda we could offer Colorado will get us a lot farther.
And I'll find out the answer to that question from Todd.
Okay.
If the last I had heard, and again, there's a reason I'm always a secretary and never a treasurer, because the minute you start talking a lot of numbers, my eyes roll in the back of my head. So I will ask Todd about any kind of limits that there might be, because that we can't help. The law we can't help, but if there is none, come up with a good fundraising plan.
Yeah.
And people love, that's a sexy thing that people like giving money to. I would leave out the 5% thing if I were you, because you're going to turn off half of the libertarians with that.
That's fine, and I don't.
And let me tell you, reality, it's up to the candidate. It's not up to the LNC.
That's fair, and also you could have $100 million if you don't have any strategy for using
Right.
it. It could all,
Yeah, but the next candidate, so this candidate would earn the 5%. It's the next candidate that decides if they're gonna take it. It's not up to the national committee at all if they take it. It's up to
So
the
it's not even up to
candidate.
the RNC and DNC, it's up to those
Well,
president their nominations.
They don't take those dollars because it limits, there's too many strings attached.
Okay.
Because you can't get certain big donors if you take that money. It's meant to be like a poverty assistance program, and if you have big donors, you don't need it. I mean, that's kind of the intent of
Yeah.
it.
I'm poor now, I want the money now.
So, it's a huge controversy. People are usually very strongly one side or another.
That's fair. I only brought it up because it came up in the last forum and there were people definitely arguing about that. But I am done now, thank you.
Mr. Atkin had a question for you.
Yes.
Question is the media cost in Maine versus the media cost in Nebraska. Do we have any clue or numbers on those?
Realistically, it's going to cost more for media in Nebraska only because that extra vote is Omaha itself. That being said, I think Nebraska is an easier win than Maine is.
Okay, thank you. And Marshall Burt in Wyoming, is he still in office?
No, he lost.
He lost. And Apollo with the Frontier Project, do we know here?
Apollo, I don't know all the details of this, so please don't hold me to the particulars, but the broad outlines from what I understand is Apollo wanted more freedom. He's doing the Frontier Project sort of thing on his own. It's no longer a project of the LNC. We still work with Apollo on many projects, but he's no longer an employee. He does mostly paid lobbying right now. He was the paid lobbyist that defeated the really dirty tricks in Montana. He works miracles.
Yes.
But the Frontier Project as a thing is not a project of the LNC right now, and that was from what I understand, a mutual decision because Apollo wanted greater freedom.
He can go.
Thank you.
If I may, I just wanted to bring up something. I think Jacob maybe hinted at it, but if we're going to suggest about concentrating a presidential campaign in one place, I do know how the Electoral College works with Nebraska breaking up their districts. District 2, I'm pretty sure, is just like the city of Omaha, more or less. So if we're gonna concentrate our efforts to try to get an electoral vote, just recommending that our presidential candidate campaign hard in Omaha, Nebraska specifically would be wise, I think. But
Maine breaks up its districts.
Yes, I mean, I
but
think
I'm just
either
saying in
of
terms
those.
of just concentrated one area. Literally, the city of Omaha, Nebraska has one electoral
I'm also
vote.
selfish. Colorado is next to Nebraska, and so if Nebraska is number 1 on that list, then I can make Colorado number
And
second.
just another FYI that a lot of people don't know, and maybe some people in this room doesn't know, the LNC has virtually no say over what the presidential and vice presidential candidate.
Oh yeah.
No, a lot of people don't realize that. The only say or control, as it were, that the LNC maintains over the candidates is if they go tremendously off platform, we can remove their nomination. That is the only power that the LNC has over our candidates. And considering we had a candidate that endorsed Hillary Clinton and said that Jewish people should bake Nazi cakes, we probably will never remove anyone's nomination either.
It doesn't matter, you don't have to worry about Joshua. I buried that man's campaign.
I wasn't saying to tell anyone
Yeah,
what to do. I was merely suggesting that it be a suggestion, but if that's even against bylaws, then.
Oh, well, what I would suggest everyone here, when we have our nominee, it's very easy to get on their campaign teams. They are hungry. And that's how you get the ear of the candidate to get them to do things. I mean, if everyone in this room wanted to be on their Colorado campaign team, you could. I mean, they want coordinators and volunteers, and it's a very rewarding experience. That's the way you get the ear of the presidential nominee. I mean, yeah, anyone on the LNC can suggest it, but our suggestion's no better than yours. It'll carry the same weight as yours.
But an actual volunteer with the campaign will carry more weight.
Yeah, because you're out there doing the work.
Yes.
Yeah. So perhaps partner with some people in Nebraska. They just got a new chair, Matt Lorenz.
Yes, I had spoken to Chris about this, and I had spoken to the vice chair about Kansas. And part of the reason this came about was after hearing 2 of the potentials already bringing up, one of those as a plan.
And our new Region 1 alternate is from, well, she's now in Kansas, originally from Nebraska.
Okay.
That came to the state admin meeting, which was cool to see.
I'm sorry?
Matt came to the state
yeah.
IT admin committee meeting, which was cool to see.
Okay, so was that it, Mr.
Yes,
Diaz,
thank
or
you.
anything further?
No, I appreciate that, everyone letting me put that forward. And again, I appreciate when I talked to you the other day, David. Register Libertarians. David said he will throw everyone a pizza party if we get 100,000 Libertarians. Just for this group though, not like the whole 100.
No. Mr. Laurie, I do have a suggestion for you. The LNC has electronic meetings the first Sunday of every month. I would come during public comment and start pitching it.
I was thinking I might come in August.
I would start in June.
Okay, sounds good.
The people who are really passionate about things come to every single one and bring it up every single time.
Okay, cool. I'll do that then.
I would highly, highly suggest that. Okay, storage proposals, Ms. King.
All right, so I know that we've been using the outreach trailer mainly as kind of a storage facility, which is okay. It's a little crowded in there, and it makes it, I think, less useful for actual outreach activities because it's kind of weighed down with stuff. There's also some stuff that probably should be in a more climate-controlled environment. Like we bought a projector last year, the projector screen. We've been supplying our own alcohol at a lot of our events as a way to fundraise, and those things do better in a climate controlled storage facility rather than a trailer in the elements. So I looked up a few different areas. I sent this out to the board earlier today, but in case any of you guys, let me see if I can share my screen and then at least some of you can hear.
Come here when you're done.
So there's a handful of different places. I kind of wanted to, it seems like the west side of Denver or like North Denver seems to be the easiest. I obviously do not want to put it downtown Denver. That is a nightmare for everyone. The two cheapest ones that I found is one in Inglewood with CubeSmart storage. It's just a 5x5 unit. I don't think we need anything bigger than that. We don't have a ton of stuff to store. And that's at $35 a month. When I checked, last week. There's another one in Westminster, a small 5x5 unit for $32 a month. It can go up from there. I would say the average was probably about $45 to $50, and then of course you can pay up upwards of like $100, $150 for even just a small unit, depending on where it is. But this one in Lakewood was $44 a month, and then you get half off for 2 months. And I don't want it to be like a humongous expense, but I think it would probably be worth us having somewhere that's climate controlled and that any of us can access. Because I know not everybody has the keys to the storage trailer, and then you have to it's a whole thing. So, that's my thought on the matter. And if we feel like we need to look into it a little bit more, like pull up maps and things like that, this isn't necessarily something we have to decide like this exact moment. But I wanted to just bring it up and show you guys what I found.
Okay, excuse me. Lastly is, second to last, a style committee appointments, Mr. Vukovich.
So we need to appoint the style committee by June 1st. We'll get those applications sent out. Just wanna let everybody know that we'll be having to do that by email ballot to get it done by the deadline. That's my bad, but we'll get those sent out. We'll still have plenty of time to vote. We can talk to that, so we can have Ms. Horlos interview anybody if we're not sure who they are already, so. I have a feeling she might wanna be on it. I'm only saying that assuming that she applies to be on it.
Well, it's automatic. The chairs of the platform committee and the bylaws committee are automatically on the style committee.
Okay.
So whether Alicia likes it or not, he's on the style committee.
Okay.
Madam Chair, what if you have no style?
That's kind of a requirement. We make you dye your hair pink.
Yeah, so that was it for that one. I got just point of information. There was no motion coming out of Aaron's. Just that if we wanted to do it, we could.
She wanted to talk about it, I
Okay,
believe,
cool.
and potentially at a future meeting have a.
Sweet.
I mean, this is potentially something we could do over email if we're just going to do a monthly payment for it.
Yeah, especially.
But I wanted to, put it out there. We can discuss it.
Cool. Thank you. I want to make sure I got that right. Didn't miss anything.
Madam Chair, can I? What is the style committee?
Oh, okay, that's an interesting question. Okay, what it is somebody, we used to, in conventions past, annoy the hell out of delegates by arguing about where to put the comma, to the point where everyone was telling each other where they could put the comma. So we formed a style committee so that the delegates wouldn't have to worry about things like that. We adopted a style guide of the Chicago Manual of Style. So the style committee goes through our governing documents, make sure they're stylistically consistent and grammatically correct pursuant to the Chicago Manual of Style. No substantive changes.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, I was the last person to leave the convention, so I just want everyone to know that I currently have the projector, in case anyone needs it.
Okey doke. All right, 10 minutes for ad and special districts demo, Mr. Aiken.
Okay, one of the things we deal with is people are more or less married to the two larger parties. And I think we need to start thinking about how to break them from that habit. And one of the things that I think we could do is let people know how the people in the legislature actually vote, because 99% of the citizens of Colorado don't go to the legislative site and don't know how their legislators vote on individual bills. So I put together a potential ad. Let me share my screen here. And this little ad, which is text only right now and could be prettied up, tells the public, wherever we print this ad, how legislators voted on this particular bill. This is something we could do for any bill that we like, and we could do it in any of the cities that have a major paper or something like that. We could put it on our website. But it just lets people know what people are doing, what the legislators are doing.
I think this is a fantastic idea. I'd almost love to put this on a billboard.
Especially this specific bill.
They'll probably put this right up. No one would put "fuck Fauci" up, but they might put this up.
Yeah.
We tried for like months to put up a billboard against Fauci, and no one would do it. It's bullshit. Yeah, coward.
So anyway, that's my idea for the advertising.
Do you have a proposed motion? Like, do you have a idea for a motion that you'd like somebody to make, or?
No, I don't. I'm just throwing it out here, something to think about. Do some research with the legislature if you find there's a really bad bill, a really good bill, and figure out a way to pay for it and run it.
Okay.
Map support, and then just name of the list of these people.
That would help with the 29 we had, what was it, the pedophile 29 or something? Is that right?
Pedo 27.
27, that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what this bill was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, second thing, the Secretary of State has come out with a file that contains all of the special districts that they track and the precincts that go with them. And when you marry this to the voter file, we can find out, let's see, just a minute. Yeah, there's all sorts of things, hospital authorities, county commissioners, conservation districts, ambulance districts, that sort of thing. When we marry that with the voter file, For example, here I've got, I'm looking at all of the cemetery districts. Let me sort those by that so we can see that. Let's see.
Steamboat Spring Cemetery. Hey Kyle, are you not doing comedy? You manage the cemeteries.
So we have, looks like 4, 8, 9 people in this first cemetery district. I don't know where that is. That is in Lincoln County and Montezuma County. So if we have some of these members, we could get them to run for that board and maybe win some local races. We can do the same thing for, let's see, water and sanitation.
And David, I think if I remember when we spoke, this, because we were able to pull the data from Merle and Jessica, this has city council races in it as well, so that will at least help. Don't have to go to 1,500 different town websites to.
This is great because I bet a lot of these special districts are just like open seats.
Yep.
For right?
Yep.
It's not very sexy, but we could make a big difference, honestly.
Yeah, there's this first one is in El Paso County, the second one's in Jefferson County. So we can do this sort of thing now. Very easy for me to pull a list of these people and send it to the local affiliates. So we can now start running candidates in these kinds of races. So any questions about that?
I was gonna ask you after the meeting, David, to show me, because we had talked about that before with the spreadsheet you sent me. I was a bit confused, but I don't wanna waste everyone's time with that.
Thank you for staying on the latest and greatest, David.
What?
Thank you for staying on the latest and greatest.
Sure.
If I could piggyback on David for a moment here, more as a guest. Mr. Bergerson is elected to a metro district. Mr. Hill is elected to a metro district. The more I'm examining these metro districts, we could get a Libertarian on it. They're begging for people.
What was that second? I heard Mr. Hill. Was there a second person you, Douglas? Oh, you're running for?
He already is.
Oh, you already are.
Sworn in May 2nd.
Yes!
What?
Yes!
Were you unopposed? Or?
It started with 3 and then one person dropped out, so it was unopposed.
Yeah, a lot of them are unopposed. And this, I'm gonna say the same thing I said when I was at a Douglas County meeting and I asked, Wayne, what's his name, the commissioner? George Teal was there. Why aren't there Libertarians on any of these county committees? And he said, no Libertarians have applied for any of these county committees. We should all be hanging our heads in shame with that. So there's these metro districts in which we missed out an opportunity this year. It happens, I don't believe in beating yourself up in the past. But most years, the application deadline to get on the ballot, and there's not usually even any kind of even minimal petition, is around February 25th. With an election on May 2nd. The reason why this has flown under our radar is because they have these weird May elections. Castle Rock Town Council used to have May elections. There are still some towns that do that, but these metro districts do that. And even now, it's not too late. If nobody ran, which happens a lot of times, they're begging for people to apply and get appointed by the one person who did get elected. And a lot of these metro districts are like taxing districts that maybe we can make some of them go away. I mean, that's a super libertarian thing.
These metro districts have like no oversight whatsoever. Once they're there, they can do whatever they want. We could literally shut these down from the inside, which is a great idea.
Also, I remember at our state convention, there was a training about how people can get on just boards and commissions. And if you get a majority and you think it's dumb, then you can just vote the board or commission out of existence. Which would be a very libertarian thing to do as well.
So, we're really gonna be pushing this in Douglas. It takes a lot of research. There are hundreds of them just in Douglas. There are thousands of metro districts throughout the state of Colorado. Plus, when you're gonna start running for town council or whatever it is, it's great to have that you were previously on this metro district. So, Wayne and I tomorrow have interviews with Castle Rock. We applied for committees. All of your towns have committees. Apply for them. Castle Rock happens to be unusually competitive, but a lot of the other towns, you can get on them relatively easily.
I did research the list that's on the Department of Labor website, and quite a few of the districts listed there are not on the Secretary of State's list. So,
The one I have, you mean? Did you see that pull-down chart I had? It's on the Douglas County page.
I have not seen it.
Okay, I was assured it has every single metro district on it,
Okay,
but I'll show you that when we're.
okay.
David Alicio's asked how we can get a hold of that spreadsheet.
What?
How can we get a hold of that spreadsheet?
This list? Email me and tell me what county, what kind of districts you're looking for, you know, that sort of thing.
Is that spreadsheet available for public access?
Well, it's distributed with the Secretary of State's voter file, so it's public information, so I can send you the list of, I guess I'll have to do a little pruning because this is by precinct, but I can print it down so that you get only one entry for each district.
And how often is it maintained?
Well, it comes out every month with the voter file, but I don't think this list changes that often. Probably not. So, you know, if you get it once a year, you're probably pretty accurate.
I'm actually gonna ask the indulgence of the board just for a quick, kind of national thing. The delegate allocation deadline is October 31st. Y'all sent out a great postcard last time and got a lot of national members. If you want Colorado to have more delegates, you need to get national members by October 31st. I would highly suggest some kind of campaign like you did last time. October 31st will be here before you know it.
You hear that?
What? No, sorry.
October 31st, deadline for delegate allocation, based off national members from our state.
Perfect.
Now, I'm going to be sending to each of the state chairs and whoever asks me, and I'll publish it publicly somewhere. I'm gonna do a preliminary calculation soon that's be like, if I had to do the calculations today, this is where everyone would be at. Because remember, I can't say to Colorado, for instance, if you get 20 more registrations, you get one more delegate.
Right,
because it depends on how everyone else does.
Yeah.
But if Colorado kicks everyone else's ass, then you will get a lot more delegates. And because I'm sitting here in Colorado, I'm from Colorado, and we're the best state, we're gonna kick everyone's ass, so let's get more delegates. We've never broken the 40 mark, at least since my time in the party. We've gotten 36 before. Let's break the 40 mark.
We are much more incentivized to do so now too, because we now have a membership program. So we can like set it up so that like we're selling people like a national and state membership package at the same time and just like kill two birds with one stone, which is online now. I was gonna say, I brought that up in my report, but I should have brought it up online because it's a big deal. We have a website that people can go to. There's some slightly misleading language on there. Your membership doesn't have to be donated through that page. That's gonna be corrected. We really prefer that you do. But yeah, so I started able to do stuff with that data now and have people sign up for membership, so.
Well, and let
Very
me
exciting.
let you know an opportunity that you have. We once had over 600 national members. 600, close to 650 if I'm remembering correctly, but we have 488 right now. We're capable of over 600, we've proven it. So I know part of it's the economy, and part of it is that number was probably right at a delegate allocation, that's when our highest numbers are. But if we don't get back up to over 600, we're not up to our capabilities. And I know some people will always go, yeah, but so-and-so won't join now, or they left because of X. You wanna know what? No matter what variable you change in this party, someone comes because of that, and someone leaves because of that. That's just political life. I hate to see anyone leave. I'm not making light of anyone leaving, but it is just reality. You change one factor, you're gonna lose some people, you're gonna gain some people. So the standard should always just be our platform. And if someone leaves because they don't like our platform, then it's probably best for everybody. And if we gain people because of our platform, that's probably best for everybody too. So we should be over 600, and the other incentive is, if by October 31st, we're number 8 right now, if we move up to number 5, and that is so doable, we get a credentials committee seat. That used to be like, yawn, who cares? Last convention, we saw how important that was with Delaware and Massachusetts. That could become Colorado one year. We all need to stop thinking we're immune from these controversies, because we're not. Because I bet you last year, Michigan thought it was too.
Also, just for as much shit as we all talk on the national stage about how great Colorado is, it's totally unacceptable that we're not in the top 5, so.
It's a fair criticism, Mr. Booker.
True story. Colorado is the best.
Well, let me give you another reason why it is totally unacceptable. Platform committee allocations are done 2 ways. You can either be a top 10 state, which we are, or you could be a top 10 registered, a national member to per capita state. We always meet both criteria, which means we have people who live in the state who are very willing to be libertarians. There is no reason we shouldn't be a top 5 state, because we already meet those 2 metrics. That means we're not asking. I can tell you sometimes all you have to do to get people to join is to ask.
And now it's totally within the purview of the membership director, because we're gonna have a product that is a unified membership package to sell. So,
That is awesome.
which I think we might have to do officially to create that, but we have an option on the website that does both, and then create
And
a
national
program.
has that
Yeah.
you know of. I'm not telling you anything.
Yeah, we might just have to pass it, but we can set it up so that we don't even have to handle the money. It just goes directly to somebody pays once and ours goes to us, the national goes to them.
Okay, so now it's the last announcements and opportunity for public comment. I think that was kind of like a public comment I had, or an announcement. Does anyone else have any further, Mr. Huber?
As I've mentioned before, I am willing to pay national membership for people who either can't afford it or don't see the value of getting enough delegates. So I think it's very important. I'm willing to finance them. I'm not gonna put a limit on it, but when I've spent enough money, I'll say no more. Anybody who doesn't wanna do it because they don't see the value proposition, I do, I'm willing to pay their national membership. I will not pay their state membership because of philosophical reasons. So I will say that, but I'll pay their national.
Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Out. I did send your check in, by the way.
Wonderful, thank you. I am concerned that ranked choice voting is going down the top 2, which in my mind too often perpetuates 2-party dominance and perpetuates minor parties being out of the loop, lacking viability and visibility.
I do think nationwide that might be the case. It's not here in Colorado. RCV Colorado is not in favor of jungle primaries of any sort. Can't speak for other states, because there's all kinds of RCV organizations. RCV Colorado's independent.
Do you have I suppose I could answer this, does that organization have a list of all the towns that have enacted RCV in Colorado?
Mhm.
Okay.
I can get you the email address of the executive director.
Perfect.
Remember, I told you that's why I love the executive director of RCB Colorado. She's green. She came and spoke to the LNC, and she said, listen, you go far enough left, you get your guns back. So any lefty that says that.
There were far left communists who called that committee to be like, if you take our guns away, we can't fight the far right fascists, and the vice chair voted against that assault weapons ban purely because of that.
Yeah,
So.
you go far enough left, you get your guns back. That's her favorite expression of mine.
And I'm not worried because I don't think the communists actually know how to use those guns, but
So,
John Brown, gun.
All right, there's one motion left. It starts with an A.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, can I, real quick, can we just give it up for John for holding it down as technology?
Thank you for your service, John.
Yeah, that's really appreciate you getting up here every month.
All right, is there any objection to adjourning? Hearing none, adjourned at 8:32.
Thanks, everyone.
See you, David, about spring.
Thanks, everyone.
Do you have it on your computer?
Yes.
Okay, you were telling